Hey guys, did you know that we have achieved a really major milestone with this podcast? It's been just over 4 years and over 250 episodes when the English Made Simple show reached its major milestone. I'm going to share that with you soon. The milestone was 1 million listeners. So just over 4 years, 1 million listeners. It's now well over that mark. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome back, guys. Welcome to today's episode of the English Made Simple show. This is episode number 278, number 278, número 278. This is your host, Milena, speaking, and you're listening to another episode of the English Made Simple show. Yes, it's another episode of the EMS show. Today's episode will be short and sweet, but don't worry, you will learn something in today's episode. You'll learn something new here. I wanted to highlight something that's important for everyone to know in today's episode, which is also important to me. I've accidentally forgotten to mention this in my last episode. And that was the goal that I achieved not long ago. I forgot about that. And the goal of reaching 1 million listeners through the English Made Simple podcast. That was the goal. So on the 16th of March 2016, this is before COVID, I launched the EMS show with exactly 0 listeners on the day. You can say with no audience. Nobody had heard of the EMS show back then. And then only a couple of weeks later, I started to gain traction with the podcast. I started to gain podcast listeners from 20 listeners a month to well over 100,000 a year. When I recorded those first couple of shows in March of 2016, I set a goal to reach 1 million listeners. And also with this goal, having this goal in mind, it was a way of helping 1 million listeners improve their English skills. That was the whole idea behind this goal, behind this milestone. And how do I know that I'm actually helping people? How do I know that I helped all these people with their English through this podcast? Well, I get comments from you guys. I get comments and messages almost on a weekly basis telling me how they found certain episodes really helpful for their work, studies, English exams, like IELTS, for example. So yes, this is how I know that I'm making an impact with this podcast. And I'd like to thank each one of you out there for sticking with this podcast for 4 years, if you've been listening to me for over 4 years. And thanks just for listening to the show and supporting me, listening to my gibberish most of the time. But it's good to know that it's been helpful, this gibberish, right? It's been helpful. It's been helping you with your English. Radio. So going back to the goal that I mentioned in the beginning of the show, the 1 million listener goal. It sounds crazy, right? When I said that goal out loud, in my mind, I couldn't imagine that to ever actually happen. I might reach half of that, or maybe about 100,000. But I actually never could have imagined that I could reach 1 million people through this podcast. But I did. It went over 1 million people from all around the world, from South America to Asia, to Australia, to the United States, to Europe and Africa. Every corner of the earth is now listening to the EMS show. It sounds crazy, but it feels amazing to know this. What I didn't do back then when I set the goal was that I didn't give myself a time frame, which was probably my mistake looking back now. It's almost like the basics of setting goals. You need to know when you need to achieve this goal by, that sort of thing. But nonetheless, it was a number that I strive to achieve for myself. It didn't matter to me when I'd achieve this goal. I just wanted to reach this number, 1 million listeners. And it feels great to look back now and say to myself, wow, well done. Well done, Milena, for achieving this goal, something that I never imagined could happen 4 years ago. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever had a goal that you achieved, some big audacious goal that you set for yourself and you achieved it? it does feel great to have a big goal and then to achieve it. Radio. So now let's go back to today's episode because there is something here for you guys to learn as well. And there's something that I'd like you to do when we reach the end of today's episode. There is something that you can do for me that will help me create more episodes for you guys, and I can create some courses to serve you better and to accelerate your English learning. So please keep listening to the episode till the end. Now on to our short and sweet lesson for you guys today. Here's something for you to learn when we are talking about goals in general. So that's our topic for today. We're just going to talk about goals and milestones. So it will be useful for you guys to know this, to know about goals now that we are approaching the end of the year. This is usually a great time for people to set goals. So when you're talking about goals in general, there are certain words you have to use. If you use these words in combination with the word goal, you'll sound super duper fluent. So let's see, there's a couple of verbs that I'm going to share with you today. Number one, the verb or the word set, S-E-T. I set a goal for myself, and then you insert a goal. So I set a goal for myself to do something. For example, I set a goal for myself to lose 5 kilos this year. I only have 2 months left. 1 month to lose 5 kilos. No, I set a goal for myself to lose 5 kilos this year. The verb set is written the same as when you refer to it in the past or present tense, and you can use it also as a participle set, okay? It doesn't change. Now, the next verb you can use in combination with the word goal is the word achieve, to achieve something. Last month, I achieved a goal of losing 5 kilos. So I'm just using a basic example here, obviously. Last month, I achieved a goal of losing 5 kilos. So I set a goal to lose 5 kilos, and then I achieved that goal. Okay? It means you have achieved a goal or reached your goal. You didn't fail. You won. You didn't disappoint yourself, but you've made yourself proud. That's what it means to achieve your goal. And now I have a question for you guys. Something for you guys to think about. Did you ever set goals for yourself? Have you ever reached any of your goals? Have you achieved any of your goals that you set out for yourself? Think about some goals you can set for yourself for the next year. Now it's the perfect time to think about that. You don't have to set it right now, but at least start thinking about some goals you'd like to achieve in the near future. And then you need to start working towards it. Radio, now we're approaching the end of today's episode. I'd like to ask you for a quick favor. So I know that some of you might be jogging or driving right now or walking and listening to the show, so you can't stop and write things down. But can you remember this website address? It's englishmadesimple.net/survey. I've prepared a short survey to ask you a couple of questions to learn more about you, the listener, and why you're needing to learn English right now. What's your number one problem now? Why you're needing to learn English? It will only take you a couple of minutes to complete this quick survey, and could be a good exercise for you guys to do it just because you'll be writing and reading it in English. So it's a good exercise in a way. Try to answer the questions the best way you can. It is an anonymous survey. So all you need to do is just go to englishmadesimple.net/survey to answer this quick questionnaire that I prepared for you guys. I'll leave the link inside the description of today's episode so you can just click on it when you're ready. This will be a huge help, amigos y amigas, especially as I'm planning to prepare more cool stuff for you guys to help you with your English. So I'd like to set some goals for myself for next year and to create some cool stuff for you as well. And the answers to the questionnaires, the answers you give me will help me a lot to create some cool stuff. Don't forget, the website address is englishmadesimple.net/survey. Easy peasy Japanesey. That's all for today, amigos y amigas. If you've enjoyed today's show, please share this episode with your friends if you think that they'll benefit from listening to the show. And also, you are always welcome to visit EnglishMadeSimple.net and find some resources on there to help you improve your English. And while you're there, if you'd like to know when I release the next episode, you can enter your name and email, and I will let you know via email when a new show is out. As soon as you see my smiley face pop up from the side of the website, you can enter your details in. You've done very well today, so keep practicing. Think about your goals. Don't forget. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you've learned something new today. If something wasn't clear, be sure to send me an email or send me a message on Facebook or on Instagram. And don't forget to go and visit EnglishMadeSimple.net/survey. That will be really, really helpful. You've been jamming with Milena from English Made Simple. Until next time, hasta la próxima.